Hello everyone, welcome back. I certainly hope that you like this video that I have for you guys today because I have tried to record this video not once, not two times, but this is my third time recording this video, and hopefully each one has become better than the last. Now I will say that I am ranking every book based on their first cover. If they were made in another country, I put that country's first edition and the US edition. But if they were first edition made in the US, I do not include the other countries. However, I may include first edition hardcover and first edition paperback if they were different or if they kind of showed up. And I did a lot of research on this. If you find a cover that you believe to not be the first edition, definitely let me know in the comments, and also let me know if you agree or disagree with what I have to say in this video and all my tier ranking. I'm very, very interested in what all of you guys have to say and what all of you guys think. Now, you may think that this type of video does not require a lot of work, and that's why I'm doing it. Well, I can assure you that I spent many hours making sure I had the right editions and hoping for the best. So that is my preface. I will not say every time, oh, I hope this is the right cover, because just know that going into it, that's what I'm hoping for. That was the goal, so we'll see. Otherwise, let's hop into this tier ranking list, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Like and subscribe if you do, or maybe watch a couple more videos to get convinced or unconvinced that you want to subscribe. I don't know. Okay, so let's talk about the tiers first. We have Get On My Shelf. We have It's Good, but we have Meh, it's okay. Then we have It Has Redeeming Qualities, I guess. And then we have Stay Away, as in stay away from my shelf. Please stay away from there. So I am using tiermaker.com, as a lot of you are probably familiar with this website, and I hope that it works out and that doesn't poop out on me. So I'm not going to pop up a picture. I'm going to slide over to the screen and show you. I'm going to show you what I'm looking at, and hopefully that works out. So we have Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. She was, she is an American author, so this was published originally in the United States, and this is the original cover. I actually really like this cover. I really like the art style. I believe that the words are kind of bezeled, that they're popping out from the book a little bit, which I like, and that they're also shiny, but it's kind of hard to tell from this photo. But I love the art style. I don't mind the people on this cover. I am known to be not a big fan of people on covers, but it's only a specific style in which I do not like people on the cover. But this is done really well. I like these yellowy colors in the center, drawing your attention to the people on the front, and then the blue in the background. But it's not a one-note blue. And there are things that you're questioning here. You can obviously tell that this young boy is the apprentice, and this older man is some sort of master of sorts. He is teaching him something, most likely, and that he has a dog companion, and that it is quite obviously a fantasy setting. Now, I don't know. Can I zoom in like this? I don't know what this thing is down here. So we'll just ignore that, I guess. But art style's great. This is a beautiful one to start with. Get On My Shelf. Then we have Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. Not a big fan of the, I don't know if you call that a mantle. Not a mantle. The front of the ship, the woman on the front. Not a big fan of what's going on there. Maybe if she was covered up, it'd be better. But anyway, I do like the art style. Like the ship, I like the parchment-y look around here. I like the lettering. I like the calligraphy type look here. Purple wording works here. The red for her name works. I like that we're seeing this dragon sort of creature maybe come out of the water, or maybe it's flying just above the water and coming at this ship. And it's making you ask questions, wondering what is happening here. And yeah, I do like it. I think it's effective. I think it's good, but I wish that the woman was covered up on the front. Then we have the other version of Ship of Magic. Now, this, I believe that I was having a really hard time finding out which was the true first edition, so I just decided to put both for this. And these are the type of people I don't like on the cover. I'm not the biggest fan of this. Sorry, this image isn't as high quality as the other ones. The wording is okay. I think the blue is a little bit too vibrant. I think if it was a little bit more muted, it would look better. And maybe if she had more of this parchment-y look here, or maybe if it was even shining, but it doesn't really look like it is. and the font is different than the first one, which would bother me if that is the first edition, or if the Assassin's Apprentice is the first edition and this is the second, or this is the first edition of the next series in her Realm of the Elderlings. So I did the first book in all of the Realm of the Elderlings because I figure if I just do the first book in every series that's within this saga of books, that, you know, maybe one would inspire me to pick up the rest of them. Because we're all judging books by their covers. Let's not pretend like we're not doing that. Okay, because we're all doing that. That's what makes us pick up the book, and then we look on the inside, and then we decide if we want to buy it or not, or on the back cover or whatever. So, I really like the art style other than the people. I think the art is done really, really well. It's just not particularly something that I like on my books. So for that, I would have to put it in meh, it's okay, just because I love the background, but the people are kind of ruining it for me, and kind of the detailing of the top section is also not the best for me. Okay. Then we have what most of us has probably seen in our stores. Fool's Errand. You can see the name of this file on my computer. It says Abomination JPEG, because that's exactly what this cover is. It is an abomination. That doesn't even look like art of a person. It just looks like a photo of a person, which is definitely the art style I don't like. Stay away from my shelf. I don't like that cover. However, if it was the only way that I could get Robin Hobb books and I had to buy those, I guess I would have to do it. You know, because I did start Assassin's Apprentice. I read it, and I've started her Realm of the Elderlings. Then we have this other edition, which is another possible first edition for Fool's Errand. Again, it looks a bit more on par with the Ship of Magic, and you see this lettering looks really good. You've got parchment going on, and then you've got architecture in the background with a parchment-like color, kind of combining them all in together. You have on both sides these castles on mountains, and then these animals at the bottom for some reason. That is a little too much for me with the animals at the bottom. I think that we could have done away with that, but because it's all the same color, I think it's fine. And the art is okay. I'm okay with this cover. I think that's probably where I sit with it. I do really like the buildings. I can't really see it in that much detail, which is unfortunate, but it kind of is looking like the type of people I don't like on covers. So I'll have to go in meh, it's okay. Then we have the Dragon Keeper, and for whatever reason, I could only find this as the first edition, and it doesn't really look like it fits in with any of the other first editions of her other books. And I think her publisher might have changed at this point, but I'm not completely sure, so definitely don't quote me on it. But yes, so we have this is volume 1 of the Rainwild Chronicles, and this dragon kind of looks like an animatronics dragon. The art for the boy or young boy, I can't tell really from this far away, is fine, but the background feels very realistic here in the grass area, and then there's this weird like brightening hue here, and it's very dark down here at the bottom and very dark here, like a vignette. I don't really like this cover. Like, the more and more I look at it, I'm like, oh, you know, you've got a young person and a dragon. That's great. It's just not done the best. So this is probably gonna have to stay away for me. And I am ranking these within the tiers here. So it's going by, you know, the tippity-toppitiest best, and then the bottomiest worst. So that's the professional way to say it. The official way to say what I was trying to say. All right, then we have, again, this cover works with the Fool's Errand cover and kind of the Assassin's Apprentice cover, but not really. It's not the one we usually see. Again, the only first edition I could find for this one. I kind of like the framing of the antlers in the background. It looks like the words are supposed to be shiny, which is cool. I like the shiny words. The art of the man isn't as bad as the woman on Ship of Magic, and definitely not as bad as Fool's Errand. But I don't necessarily like this cover. There's really not a lot going on. I wouldn't look at this and go, "Ooh, I want to pick this up because," and then see, oh, it's, book 1 out of, it's, well, would be book like 12 or 13 or 10, something like that. And then go, oh, well, let me go see the first book. If I were to just see this one, I'd go, probably not, and unless I were to go back to the Assassin's Apprentice. Anyway, that was not a good way of describing what I was trying to say, but it has redeeming qualities, I guess. I think that the art style is good. I think it's done well. I just don't really like all of the elements together on this. I think we could have done something more with the background. It's very plain. I don't really know what's happening here. It kind of looks like he's bloody, which is interesting, but I can't tell, which is, the fault of finding photos on Google is that I cannot find the best high quality photos all the time, unfortunately. So then we have Fourth Wing. Again, why can't I find a great quality photo of this? Why is it so bad? This cover is really basic, and basic isn't bad, but it doesn't look like a whole bunch of time and effort was put into this. It just kind of looks like, oh, I'm going to use this thing on my program to make a perfect circle, and then make a dotted circle, and then, or a dash circle, and then a dotted circle, and then repeat that. Put some lines in the middle. Fourth Wing. I like the clouds, and the dragons are fine, basic. Again, I like that the cover is golden, but I'm not going to look at this and go, let's put this on my shelf. It's probably going to stay away right there, because I would rather have that on my shelf than Fool's Errand with that cover. Then we have The Color of Magic by Terry Pratchett, and although this was published in the UK, when it was published in the US, it seemed that the first printing of the US was also this exact cover art. And the more and more I look at it, I like it, especially if I'm really looking at the details of these elephants here on top of this turtle and wondering, what's going on here in this book? It definitely looks very science fiction-esque to me. I do like the colors, but it's not really my cup of tea, I think. I think it's good. Well, I think it's okay. I think that there are other editions of this that are much more intriguing, and that this one isn't as intriguing, but the artwork is definitely good. And the wording is basic but works. I mean, not the wording, the font is basic but it works. So I would say that it's okay. Then we have the first edition of The Blood of the Elves. This is the Polish edition, the first printing, first edition. I really like this cover, but I don't really like the font and how we have this big block of red at the top, big block of red at the bottom, but I love the artwork in the center. I think it's done really well. Now, this is not a very high quality photo of this, but I do really like this cover. So not much to say about it, but it is really good. Then we have the next edition, which is the supposed US first edition. And ignore the Netflix series one. I don't know if that was already on there or not. I like that this looks like a video game. I like that you see the main character there, and Geralt, and how he's got blood on his sword and on him, and you can't really see the details on his back, but you can tell something's going on there, just not quite sure what. And I like the city in the background. I like this green hue because it definitely makes it look even more like a video game, and I don't know if this is from the video game, inspired from the video game, or if the video game inspired this cover. I really don't know. And then we have this big block of red at the bottom, and the wolf, I guess, creature with the glowing eyes in the middle of the words. And I think it's fine. I do like the art. I think if we would have stuck with the art, allowed it to go the entire page, got rid of the big block of red, it might be better, but maybe the publisher just really likes red, which is fine. But it's not the best, in my opinion, but I do like it. So it's going to go at the top of okay, just because I do have a couple qualms with it. And then we have The Blood of the Elves, the UK edition. This is definitely interesting. I feel like it's unique. I haven't seen a cover really quite like this before, but it's also not my favorite. I wouldn't look at this and go, oh, I really want to pick this up. I think the Blood of the Elves lettering is interesting. The font, it kind of looks like it's embezzled coming out the page in a way. The weapons are fine. The wording or language that's here is kind of Tolkien reminiscent. It's fine. And it's, Geralt is a hunter. Yeah. Come on. Like, okay. It's not the best, in my opinion. So, it has some redeeming qualities, I guess. Alright, then, I don't know why I'm all out of sorts here, but we have Aragon by Christopher Paolini. Now, this was originally self-published, but I am not doing the self-published versions, nor am I doing any self-published books here. All of these books, they don't need my help. They already got their business. They're traditionally published and quite popular, so they don't need my help. The lettering, I like it. I think it works for this book. I like the art of the dragon. I think it's really well done. The background's kind of basic, which is fine. But now the covers now have changed to this, where the art goes all the way through, and it's a bit more high definition than what this one is. And that's my qualm with this one, is that I wish that we didn't have this blue block on the outside and that the dragon artwork took up the entire book front. So that's really all I have to say about that. I like it. It's going at the bottom of it's good, but I have some issues with it. It's definitely gotten better now, but then we have the blade itself. This is the first UK edition, and I like the splattering on the front. Maybe it's blood, maybe it's just red ink, but I would assume it's blood. And then we have the ink splattering. I think it's interesting and adds a bit more than if it were just parchment and, tattered parchment at that. I like the gold detailing within the calligraphy of the title. I think it's good, but it does leave a little bit to be desired. It is a little bit like, okay, I see this cover, it looks cool, but you're not, like, I don't know what this book is. You're not giving me very much to pick up, but I think you can pick up on that it's fantasy just from looking at it. So I would say it's, well, not that version. Going at the top of, it's okay. You know what? Yeah, it's going at the top of it's okay. Okay, this is A Little Hatred. This is the second series, the subsequent series to the first series of where the first book is the blade itself, and the first series is the second book, and the second series, the first book in the second series. And this is A Little Hatred. The background is okay. It's kind of grainy. I guess that's the point. You can see that it looks industrial in the background. I'm not necessarily a big fan of the flag in the front. It's fine. The font is fine. The font for A Little Hatred is not my favorite. And I would say that in general, this cover isn't my favorite, and that I would probably not necessarily pick this up just based on the cover. Now, don't get me wrong, I definitely do want to pick up Joe Abercrombie's books, but this cover is probably at the bottom of it's got redeeming qualities, I guess. And then we have the other edition, which is the US edition, which I do really like this cover. It's basic, but it's done well. You've got the ink splatting, again, must be a theme. And you've got these gears here, which I guess, again, tells us that this is a more industrialized setting. And if I'm wrong, it would be not embarrassing for me, but maybe for the cover artist. Because why would you put gears on the front if you don't have machinery? Anyway, I like the artwork of the helmet. I like that there's some movement going on. And I like all the detailing. I like the wolf or dog. They got that dog in them. On there, and it's red eyes that match with the red of the author name, and the font is fine. I feel like the font could have been different, but maybe because it's so basic, it offers for us to look more at the actual artwork, which again is great. You can see that this helmet has definitely seen some war, some battles, which I really like as well. And this cover is just really great, and it needs to get on my shelf. I'm back, and it's a different day because I had to eat, and it was late. when I was recording last night. So I may be wearing the same shirt, but let's not worry about that. So there was a book that wasn't on my tier list for some reason, and I've been telling y'all I'm having problems with the computer and this tier list and whatever. Assassin's Apprentice, the other first edition that I found. I believe this is a hardcover first edition. Let's take a look at this. We're seeing that it has these similarities to the other versions. I do like all the details. I don't like this illustration of Fitz, I'm assuming. And I have seen a cover where it's just this, and it would go in the stay away tier if it was just that. I'm not gonna lie to you. And then I could not tell you who this is on the left. And then we have Assassin's Apprentice there, and as the title. The font is fine. The color of the font is fine. I like that it's shiny on the side. And the artwork for the ship and everything is interesting. You know, not exactly sure what's going on here. I'm asking some questions. I think it's okay. I do like ships, though, I won't lie. But I think it's okay. Alright, then we move on to this Mistborn cover, which apparently is the official first Mistborn cover. And, you know, we have the Grim Reaper in the background. We have random lightning strikes coming from outside of the scene. And we have this font that I don't really like. Maybe I just don't like the blue. But that the font is different in the title and in the author's name. But that's, you know, the best part about this cover, because what is happening to this person's head and face and their arm and their leg, it's a really funky cover, and not in a good way. I also don't know that I really like this at the bottom here, this detailing for the final empire. I don't know what was happening in this cover, and it needs to stay away from me. Then we have this Name of the Wind cover. They say that like that. The Name of the Wind cover. And the font is fine. I think it works for this cover. I like the art style in terms of I like the background, I like the architecture, I like the leaves with the movement. But this person's face and their chest looks a little strange. I feel like if we could just cover that up, that this cover I would like a lot more. But it's a little off-putting, and that is what I'll say about that. And it's gonna go in, it has redeeming qualities, I guess, but at the top of that tier. Then we have The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington, and I really like this art style, and I like that everything is in black and white except for the sun, I'm assuming that is. I think it really adds to the focal point here. I like the birds, the movement with that. I like how we've got this, what looks like an enemy here in the background. Okay, I gotta stop doing that. I think that that's a cool little detail in there, and we see this party is not aware of that enemy there either. And I like that the author name matches the color of this sun here, and that the rest of the background is kind of blank. I think it works for it. I like it a lot. I think it'll go up here because I really do like that cover. Then we have The Pariah by Anthony Ryan, and this is the UK and the US version because it was originally published in the UK. I really like the design of this character and how we have this gradient of dark mysteriousness in the background to the forefront of this stone floor, and how he's on the ground with his weapon sheathed and looking down. We can't see his face. He's maybe feeling remorse or sorrow, or he's contemplating, or he's just sitting there waiting for something to happen. So there's a lot of things that could be going on, which I find really interesting, and I like that what he's wearing is very tattered. I don't know, I think it adds to the details of it. And I really appreciate and like this cover. I think the font is fine. Don't have much to say about that, but yeah, it's a really great cover. I don't really have any notes for it. Okay, hopefully that didn't just mess up. All right, then we have the Elric Saga and this is the UK version where it was originally published. And I like the design in the center. I like the artwork in the center. I think the designs on the outside, these little circles with whatever it is in it, it's fine. It's okay. I think that's kind of where this cover sits at for me, is just that it's okay. And then we have the other version, which is the US version. And I love this art style. Now, my mother was an artist and is an artist, and she would create artwork that kind of had the same style. So I think I might be biased towards this style, but I think that Elric looks really cool here. And the hawk that's on his shoulder just flying in, and you see that he's carrying this large sword, but he's also wearing this robe. And I like all the details are very kind of like muted colors. They're not, it's not super vivid. And this little block here of where the title is at, I think it really works. I like the way that it's all laid out. So this has to go probably at the top of Get On My Shelf for me. And then we have a Game of Thrones. Now, I have a couple different covers for this because I couldn't really find the official original cover for this. Okay, so this is the A Game of Thrones UK version. This is the official first version hardcover for the UK. And there's a lot of things happening here. I don't know why there's this fossil coming out of the top, and I kind of like these two characters at the bottom edges kind of looking like they're looking at each other. And then we have this random guy here in the middle with a javelin, and his horse has got crazy armor, and he's got crazy armor, which I think looks cool. But then you have this big cityscape behind them, and you got some architecture down here. You got whatever this is in the background. I just don't know what's happening here, and I would not pick this up looking at this because it is crazy looking, and I don't know what's happening. All right, then we have, so I don't have this for any of the other books, but I had to put it on here, and it is the advanced reader's copy of A Game of Thrones. Ignore the giant sticker on there, but we have this maroon, like a palish maroon color for the detailing on the side as well as for the font. And I really like that and the color that is framing it. And then we have this artwork in the center, which I think is really good. And at first I thought, oh, this is like another damsel in distress, and here comes the knight or whatever to come save the day. But no, she's got a dagger in her hand. Now, this photo is not the best quality, but she's got a dagger in her hand. So she's up to something. And I feel like just looking at all the details of this cover, the artwork, everything, I really love it. So this has got to go up there, which is why I just had to put the arc of this on here. All right, and then we have the US hardcover first edition. It's silver, it's shiny. We've got a blue title with a blue author name. And, it's fine. I think that I guess this is a gate or door. Not gate. This is a door to somewhere. I'm stupid. This is the throne. It just doesn't look like a throne. When you first glance at it, it's fine. It's not great. It's kind of boring. Then we have the Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I really like the art style of this as well. I like this. It is either like Japanese or Chinese sort of paintings. I couldn't tell you which, but I believe she is a Chinese author, so it would make sense if that's the art style that she chose. And I like the smoke on the wording. I think that they could have chose a different font though to kind of work better for this style. Otherwise, it's a great cover, a little basic, but it's still good. Then we have the Lies of Locke Lamora, and this cover looks like an overexposed photo of a whole bunch of birds, and it looks like what was the university that they filmed Harry Potter at? Oxford or something, one of those schools. with a tower in the center. I don't like this cover. I think the font is good though, probably because it's also on the covers that are out now and the cover that I have. But yeah, this cover can stay away. Then we have Brandon Sanderson's The Way of Kings. When I was recording this video the first time, I saw another version of this cover, which I thought was the first version, but it wasn't. It was a new trade paperback, and I really didn't like that version. But this version, the one that everyone has seen, I really love the artwork on this. It's very eye-catching. We've got this large storm here. We've got this guy with a jagged sword and a flag, and then I guess the enemy that's on the other side, and they're on this, both on different cliffs, and the author name being really big and then the title being smaller. It's fine. It's just a stylistic choice, I guess. But I don't have anything bad to say about this cover. I also like all the detailing on his cape. I think that's also really cool. So this is up there. Right. Then we have the Sword in the Stone, and I think that this is really cool. And it's basic, it's just black and white, but I love all of these different pictures within it. And my husband was saying something about them being the royal houses. What do you call them? The royal heraldry. I think it's really cool. And although this is a little strange, I won't lie. That's a little off-putting. But I really like this cover. Even if it is funky, it's funky in a good way. Then I do have two different versions of A Hero Born by Jin Young, and this was first published in China. And this is what I believe to be the original cover. And this one is pretty tattered up, but, you know, I like this drawing on here, and I like the calligraphy here. But there's not much to say about it. I just wanted to include it. So I think it's good. And then we have the first US edition, which I personally like the edition that I have more, but I do enjoy, again, this ink splattered. We've got this drawing of this guy here, and I like that the sword is coming across from the R in Born. I think that that's really cool, and his sword is kind of glowing. It looks a little out of place. I feel like we could have done a little something different to make it feel like it fit better. But yeah, it's alright. I think this cover is okay. I do like the art style though. It's done well. I just kind of wish we had more of it. Then we have the Dragon Bone Chair. And I really, really like this cover. I like that the Dragon Bone Chair, you can't really see it that much in this picture, but it is, again, that pale maroon color. And I like the calligraphy of it. And I like the parchment on the outside. And then on the inside, we have this mostly green picture with this really detailed architecture with vines growing all around it. We see these two young people and this orc or something behind them, and he looks very stressed with his companion passed out, dead, we don't know, but it's making you ask questions. It looks really cool. It looks like there's a good amount of movement in this as well, and I think the art style is great. This is the type of people on the covers that I really like, and yeah, it is. I do love that cover. Okay, then we have Prince of Thorns, and this is the first hardcover edition. I like the shiny Prince of Thorns. I guess that's a theme here, is that I like when the cover has a shiny element to it. I like that his cape is asymmetrical here as it's floating up, and I like that it kind of looks like he's in a graveyard. Everything else is black and white, and we have this gradient from darker at the bottom to lighter in the background, and you can't completely see his face. He's mysterious. He's got a really cool weapon as well, and his armor looks pretty cool too. And I like that his cape is greenish in this version. I think some of the other versions a lot darker green or a grayish black color, but I like the green on this one. This cover is really good. I don't have any notes for it. Okay. Then we have this cover. I originally put ACOTAR on here because I thought the original cover was the cover that we see in the store, and I really like that cover because it almost looks like a tattoo of whatever animal it is. But then we have this. I don't like the red in the background with the trees on it, and then the art style of this lady I also don't like. There's really nothing I like about this cover. But it's still not as bad as Fool's Errand. I don't, like, spoiler alert, I don't think anything is as bad as Fool's Errand, the US edition, so sorry about that. Okay, then we have Jim Butcher's Stormfront. Moving on to better things. And this cover is fine. I don't know why there's a sticker on this version, but this is also the version I see in the store today. Again, shiny words. He's got some sort of script on his staff that's glowing, which looks really cool. He's kind of masked by his hat that he's wearing, and we can see that he is in a really built up city, so it's not taking place in medieval times like a lot of fantasy does. And so I think that's interesting, but it's not the type of people that I like on the cover. So I would put it in that it has redeeming qualities. And then we have the original Lord of the Rings UK version. And I think that these covers are basic. I don't know why the two towers is red and then the other two are in black lettering. I don't know what the choice was for that. But I like that we have the ring going into the fire and the Eye of Sauron here, and the dark script, I think that's what it's called. I don't know what it's called. But it is really basic. I think the art style is cute though. But yeah, it's okay. It's an okay cover for me. And then we have, okay, so when it comes to the Lord of the Rings and getting published in the United States, it was published before Tolkien said it was okay. So these are the first authorized editions of The Lord of the Rings to come to the United States. Now the other ones were published without his permission. I think this art style is really unique. It is a bit more blocky and almost children's story-esque. I don't really feel like it works for this story, but there is a lot going on in each of them, and that's also not what I'm judging them off of, is if it works with the story, because I haven't read a lot of these books. But would I pick these up based on the covers? I don't really know, but I think the art style is really unique, and there's just like too much going on for me to even talk about. So yeah, they're okay, I guess. I like the art style, but it does look like a children's book. And then we have two different versions of The Hobbit. We have The Hobbit UK, and I like the little dragon at the bottom. I like the green. I like the detailing at the top. I do like its simplicity, but it's not, when we're putting it against all these other covers, it's really difficult. And then we have the US version of The Hobbit. I like this little character here, this little guy with this little hat. I don't like the color of it. So that's, weighing on the options. It looks like a really old book, which this just could be an old version of, or an old book. It is an old version, but it could just be an old book itself, this picture. So it's okay. It's less. It has redeeming qualities, I guess. The redeeming quality is the little guy on it because he looks cute, but other than that, that's it. Then we have the Harry Potter UK edition. And, again, this is a children's story. The art style is very much for children, but it almost looks like it should be a picture book. So I wouldn't really pick it up based on this. I feel like this section down here was probably not on the first edition, but the artwork is the same. And yeah, the red block at the top is fine. I'm not a hater of it. But yeah, it's okay. It's just, I probably wouldn't pick it up because it does look like a children's picture book. And then we have the Harry Potter US edition, and I like this one a lot more. I like the art style. I like how much is going on here. We see these snarling dogs down here underneath the school, and we have this pattern down here, which is fine. That's probably my least favorite thing about this cover is the pattern at the bottom. But then we have these arches here as Harry is flying through them, and we have Harry Potter in shiny letters, which is going to get me every time, I guess. And I like the purple colors here and the dimensions here. I think it's really cool. I like how this cover comes together. But I will say that there are other covers, US covers, that I like a lot more than the first book. Then we have the Black Tongue Thief, and this is kind of a last minute addition for me on this list. So I haven't had a good chance to really look at this covers, but again, we have kind of like how James Islington had done the black and white and then a focal point of the yellow in the background, but I do think that it was done better in the other one. I like the lettering at the top, and I do like this art style. I just feel like there's something missing and I can't put my finger on it. I'm not really asking too many questions other than, is that a cat or not? Because if there's a cat companion, I'm going to want to read it. But I also like that we do see, actually, the more I look at it, we see that there are human skeletons down here and also monster skeletons, which that makes me ask some questions. And we see these two people coming out of this forest here, and I like the arc at the top. And they're going to this, what looks like unkempt castle or tower over here. So, yeah, it's good. It's not my favorite, but I do like it. You know what? I think it's just okay. All right. Then we are going to the Children of Gods and Fighting Men. And I think that this cover is really basic. I do like some of the artwork on it. And again, we have some shiny. But I'm not really asking any questions. I'm not sure that I would really pick this up just looking at this. I do like the colors. I like this pop of bluish green in here, but there's really not much to say about this. I do like the font, though. I think the font is nice. So, I would say it has some redeeming qualities, I guess. And I believe that the US edition is either the same as that one or the red version. Okay, then we have The Lightning Thief. And when I was researching this, I had no idea that this was the first cover because I had never seen this before. But we've got this iridescent silver. We've got this. I'm not a big fan of the block at the bottom with Rick Riordan's name in it. I wish the lightning bolt went all the way through. I like that how much detail was put into these monsters coming out of the lightning bolt. This purple color in the background. The font here being this yellow color just really pops with and just works perfect for this cover. And I think it almost looks like it should be a comic book with the way that this is set up, but I think it's really cool. I haven't seen another fantasy book cover like this, and I almost wish that we stayed with this. But I do like the new editions that came out for this series, but we're not talking about those right now. So yeah, this cover has gotta get on my shelf. I kind of wish I had these editions, but it's okay. I am not going to buy them because I already have editions I like. All right, then we have The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. And I did do a little bit of research when I was looking into this cover because I did not understand what was going on in the center. And my husband was like, that's an African shield. And so I looked it up, and it is, and I will put on the screen what it is inspired by. And then we have these weapons here surrounding this shield and the dragon on the front. And then we have in the background this carved stone with this person leading an army. And I feel like the background of it is really unique, and I almost wish that was the majority of the cover. And maybe we keep these embers here because I really like that. And the font is fine. But yeah, I really like this cover. I just kind of think that these weapons and the shield may take away a little bit from what's going on here in the background, which I think is really cool. All right, then we have The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Spiegel. And this cover, I don't know what they were thinking on this cover. Now, I do have 3 versions of The Last Unicorn on here. So this is the first hardcover. It's just words. That's it. It's colorful, I guess, but it's not my favorite font either. And I have no questions. It's just The Last Unicorn. I mean, what is there to say about that cover? All right, then we have the first paperback, and I like the art style. I think it looks very old, which it probably is. I like all the colors and the plants here and the tree framing at the top and this kind of plump unicorn here with the beard. I think the unicorn throws me off a little bit on this, which is ironic. But yeah, I think it's okay. All right, then, even though I did not do this for the rest of the books. Though this was published in the US originally, I had to put the UK version here because it's the best version. I love that this is all one color. It's green, and then we have the horse's details are in black and white, and this horse looks a bit sad and lonely, and it works with the title, obviously. And the color is very bleak, and everything about this just screams sad and bleak. And this art style is just so good. I love the mane on this horse. It's just so beautiful. And it just I had to put it on here because I had to give it its justice. Because the Last Unicorn covers are not great. All right, guys, we're getting there. We're getting there. We only have a couple books left. Okay, so then we have The Black Company by Glenn Cook, and I like the lettering a lot of this. I like the framing of it around this person in the center who looks very creepy, but I don't know why it kind of looks like they have sunglasses on their helmet. And then this is questionable here what he's doing, and the rose is a little tacky, I think. And it's very grainy in the background, which I don't really like because it makes the quality look... It makes it look like a low-quality cover, even though I don't think that it is. And he's not super detailed either. We just kind of have some streaks of white going here. And, yeah, I think it's okay. You know what? I think I would honestly put this in has redeeming qualities. Then we have The Gardens of the Moon. And this is very, like, classic 90s fantasy cover. Again, shiny words. This is a big thing in fantasy, I guess. I like the castle details in the background and that the cover is mostly red. I really like that the red is shining onto the people and the horse here. I'm not that big of a fan of the woman's armor here because she's going down in a fight if she's wearing this. Because what are you really protecting here? Not very much. And then look at him. He's got way more armor than he's got even chains on his chainmail. Why is her whole chest and armpit and elbow and hands and wrist exposed? Anyway, I digress. Then in the background, we have this burning castle and city down here. And I think that that's really cool. And although these people aren't necessarily the style of people that I like on the cover, I really do like this cover. The more and more I look at it, I do like it. So I think this has got to go at... I think it's got to go at the very bottom of Get On My Shelf. Because I have some qualms with it. Okay, then we have The Gunslinger. And there's so much to say about this cover. Even though it looks more basic, I love the use of lighting in this color. I love the use of lighting in this cover. How we have so much emotion on these people's faces, and even the enemy has got this, they look so mindless, and it's just kind of like he's the monster's doing what he was born to do and just cause chaos and destroy and kill. And I like the font here that we have the gunslinger with the bullet hole in the R, and that there's actively a bullet going outside of this man's gun to this monster down here. It's just so good. This cover is just so good, and I love it. It's got to go and get on my shelf. Okay, then we have The Eye of the World, and this goes without saying, this is a top tier cover. I love the art style of this. It's got the classic fantasy vibes, and I like the lettering here and this line that goes above and below the title, and that Robert Jordan's name is in red, and it matches this detailing for this thing on the horse. And yeah, there's just so much attention to detail in this. It's just such a beautiful cover, and that's what I gotta say about that. I do like the clothing here, and then the armor here, and the weapons. Just everything about it is great. I have no notes for this. Okay, then we go to the bone ships, and here we have some what looks like map stuff in the background, some cartography in the background. We have some calligraphy. We have a dragon that's kind of penciled in like a sketch. And I really like this style. I think it's really cool and it's unique, especially when we compare to all these other fantasy books. I haven't seen one quite like this. And yeah, I mean, I like the framing of the dragon as well. We've got him in the top right corner and the bottom right corner, and then the map is on the other side. Love this cover. No notes on that. Okay, I'm glad I finally get to talk about Redwall because there are two different versions for Redwall, because this was originally originally published in the UK, and we have this. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad I found a better quality photo of this than the first time I recorded this. So we've got the rat on the top with his little rat army on the carriage with the horse, and they've got different color eyes, and there's so much movement going on here, and they're in this like visage looking sort of thing, or mirage, I think it's mirage, of this tree, and maybe they're coming out of the forest and they're going to this castle over here. This just looks so cool. I love it. I wouldn't really think that this was a children's book just looking at it. There's so much going on, there's so many questions to have, and it's beautiful. I love this cover, and it needs to get on my shelf. Hello. Although no time has passed for you guys, it's probably been over a week since I have sat down to record, but it's good to be back. I've just been preoccupied by other things. So let's continue looking at these covers. So we've got the second version of Redwall, and this is the US version. This version looks a lot more childlike. It looks a lot more like a children's book. I love the lettering on this. It looks hand-drawn, and this detail of this vine with the flower on it. And not to mention how cute the rats look in this, or this little mouse here in the center, and then the rats down at the center who look like they're rebelling or fighting or something, but it looks so cute. I love this cover so much, and I feel like this really does make me want to read Redwall as well. Both covers do. Redwall is going in the Get on My Shelf category. The question is where to put it. I think I would put it just above the other Redwall, but I love them both. So then we have Malice by John Gwynne, and if you've been watching the channel, you know that I love this book. This cover is a bit basic. I do love the calligraphy on the front and this gradient of the black to red within the word. I like the kind of watercolor looking details on this at the top and the bottom, as well as the warriors here going into battle. And of course, I love a weapon on the cover. I love all the details in the weapon, especially the wolf on the top. I think it's a great cover. I think it looks really pretty. I think it's a little basic, but I do like it a lot. So I don't really have any problems with it. So I'm probably just going to put it on the top. Then we have The Shadow of the Gods, also by John Gwynne. And I'm sorry, my computer is going all crazy, but I like the fire details in the words The Shadow of the Gods, and how it matches the eye here of this creature. I think it's a dragon, and I love all the details of the dragon. And then you see this little warrior down here. Well, probably not so little, but in comparison, he looks so small, and I like that detail. It looks like this creature is the most terrifying thing you could ever see, because this guy is like the size of this monster's tooth. And then that the background is plain, but I like that because it draws all of your attention to the front. And I like the detail of the ground here as well. Everything works well together in this cover for me. This cover is going to the Get On My Shelf category, obviously. And where to put it? I think just under the Lightning Thief. I think I want to move the Lightning Thief up a little bit, just because I think this cover is so cool. All right, then we have the Empire of the Vampire. I have two different covers of that. We've got what I believe is the original Australia version, and I think it's cool. I think all the details are cool. I don't know why there's a little mark on here. I probably accidentally did that. Don't worry about that. I like these little shiny details here. I guess they're really getting me with the shiny stuff in fantasy. See angels here, and this guy carrying a skull back here. I think he's also an angel, maybe a fallen angel. I don't really know. And the snake here in the front. I like it. It's not my favorite, but I like it. I think there was a lot of work put into it. So it's going to go in It's Good, but. And then we have the Empire of the Vampire. I believe this is the US edition, and this is the edition that I have seen most frequently. Oh, wow, this is a really high definition photo of this. He's scantily clad, if I do say so myself. It may be better if he was wearing, a shirt, but I think it's to show all the detailing of his tattoos, and you can't tell from just looking at the cover in the store what the tattoos are, but I can actually zoom in here and see the swords going to the belly button. That's interesting. And then this, what looks like a dragon here, and all the detailing of the tattoos is actually really cool. And so is the sword. It looks, maybe it's either broken or that's just how it's made to be. And then this in the background, these animals, who looks like a bear and a wolf and a snake and an eagle or a hawk, mixed with the font here. This lettering is really cool, and I like the way that this almost looks like blood splashing around. And yeah, I like that the background is plain, because if the background had a lot going on, then it would just be too much. So this cover is going in the Get On My Shelf category because I do really like this cover. I think I'll put it here. Then we have The Magician's Nephew by C.S. Lewis. This is the first book in Narnia, and it's very basic, but I do like the art style in the center. It does look like a children's book, as it should. I think it's interesting here that this sketch outline kind of goes into the same color as the book, and I like the focus of the light here and entering this room, and you see these kids are probably up to no good here. The girl's looking scared, like telling her brother, please don't go in there, don't do it. But yeah, it's basic. They could have done more, I think, though. I like the art style itself, but for the rest of it, I think that they could have done more. So this is going to go into, why do I keep doing that? I think it's going to go into It's Okay for me here. Okay, then we have The Wizard of Earthsea, and where is it on my computer? I haven't seen this art style very much on covers, so I do like that. I like that it's different. I like this swirling around. I like the colors, and I like the look of it. There's not much to say about it other than I like it. It's all right. It feels kind of like Greek inspired, but I don't know if that's just me. But it does look like a Greek inspired cover. So I'll say that it's not like my favorite cover, but it is good. All right, and then we have Jade City, and I have simultaneous on here because this is the cover for where it was originally published, and the US as well. It was the same cover. I think the US one might be a little different. I think these detailings on the corners might be a little less focused, but I do actually really like this cover. I like the art here. I like this cover better than the one that I have because you can't see the details of these, what look like stone, maybe jade stone dragons or something like that. It would make sense if it was jade. And then I think that the US version might have the lightning across, which I don't like because I don't know what it's doing there. But this version I like. It's plain, but I like it. I really like the colors, but I'm a sucker for dark green, so that's on me. So yeah, I like it. I would say this one in particular needs to get on my shelf. All right. Then we have The Will of the Many by James Islington. This is the second James Islington book on this list here, and we have these different columns here, and the font is fine. I do like it. It works for this cover, I think. I just think this cover is really basic and really plain. I do like the cover that I have more, and that's the hardcover version, though I wish the sprayed edges were gold and not yellow, or if there just wasn't sprayed edges to begin with. But anyway, we're talking about this cover. I do like the differences in the details of these columns, but I would say that this cover is just okay. All right, then last but not least is the Sword of Shannara. So I like this cover. The one thing that takes it away is this guy's face. Other than that, I do like this cover. I like the detailing and the stone back here. I like this banner parchment paper here. I like the font of the title with the little white lines going on the outside of it. I like the shadowing, and I like this guy's face. He looks like a cool dwarf guy, and the detailing of the sword, it looks a little bit more like an outline, but it's effective and it's looking like it's glowing. So yeah, I really like this cover. I think it looks like one of those classic fantasy covers. I think the only thing that is taking away is this guy. Otherwise, it's a really great cover. So I would honestly still say get on my shelf, even though that guy's face looks like that. So, guys, I finally finished this video. I'm sorry that it took so long to get this out because this is coming out like 3 weeks later than what I originally planned it to, but I did re-record this video multiple times, and thank the Lord that this finally worked out. So please let me know if you agree or disagree with any of the choices that I made, or if you have seen another cover of these books and said, oh, this is the actual original cover. Feel free to let me know. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. God bless.